Terry McDade, aka the Pirate Hunter, and this is an inbox kit review on Dragon's 135th 1939-45 series SD.KFZ.250/1 LESPW ALTE, which is the old version of the 250/1. These are my favorite body styles of any of the German half-tracks or the American half-tracks, things like that. I like the box art on it, I gotta admit. The expression on this guy's face, where he is looking down over the side of this thing that just barely fits on that bridge, is really worthwhile. This guy's looking off the other side like, are we going to fall off there? And the expression on the driver's face is, what the hell did I get myself into this time? So it's pretty neat. It's typical, I guess, Dragon box art. I've only got one other Dragon kit that I'm doing. And so I'm not really an expert on these things. I'm working on a lot of Tamiyas, but not these. Like I said, typical box art on it. On this side, it has got a 6101 Borg Ward 4 Ostaf A heavy demolition charge vehicle picture on there, which in itself is quite an interesting looking kit. I really like the looks of that thing. It might be an interesting build. And there is a whole bunch of little tiny lettering on this thing that even with my trifocals on, I can't read very well. It's got the Dragon information, copyright 1999, where they're from, the name of the company, and everything else on it. This end has the kit number on it, same picture as on the top, information. This side has pictures of it painted up in the gray color on it, shows some of the decaling on it. Nice clean one, just come off the wash rack or just come off the production line, one of the two. Same thing on this end, same picture as on the front. So let's open this up and see what we got. I bought this off eBay. And when I got it, when I read the thing on it, he said it come from a house with a smoker in it. Yes, it did. And I think it was a cheap stogie that he smoked. But that's neither here nor there. This is my fourth attempt on doing this video. I've had more things go wrong, so come hell or high water, we're going to do the video this time. So let's open it up and see what we got. All the bags have already been opened and the parts out several times. About wore them out, taking them in and out of there. We got the directions on this, plus we got all the different sprues in here. So we'll start, and here we go again. This was the top half of the hull, or top portion of the hull. Like I said, I like the older German half-tracks. I like the small ones. I like building the smaller armor. It's a personal preference of mine. Some people I know enjoy building the bigger armor, the King Tigers, things like that. But I just like the smaller vehicles, the Jeeps, the Kettenkrats, things like that. The detail on it's pretty good. It's a little bit, the plastic is a little bit slick on it. So it would probably need to roughen the metal up some Mr. Surfacer on it, 500 or 1,000, something like that, which I'm having a tough time getting around here. There's no real flash on it. The mold lines are all pretty crisp on it. Looks good. There's different parts on here, some Pioneer tools, the blackout lenses for the headlights, which are right here, side pieces on it of the hull, all look good. That is filled in. We'll see what that shows on that, whether it has to be cleaned out a little bit, but you could do that with a really sharp knife or a really small drill bit in a pin vise. This one's got the bottom half of the hull, the bottom of the hull, not bottom half. It's got the bottom of the hull, the interior. That's got a rough texture to it, so that's pretty good on that. This is, like I said, the bottom of the hull. There's some ejector pin marks, but I don't know if they'll show. I think those will all be covered up on it. This is for the drive sprockets and the road wheels on it, and the back pulley. It's got the front spring, the wishbone set up on it, a bunch of the different parts for the suspension on this, for the front suspension. Some more of the Pioneer tools. I don't know if that's what that is. I'll figure it out when I get to it. Looks pretty good. The molds are pretty well molded on this, pretty crisp on this. That looks like the fender markers on it. Drive sprockets all look good on it. A lot of detail on them, bolt patterns on it and this. Looks pretty good. The fire extinguisher looks good on it. A bunch of the other stuff. Oh, like I said, it's all molded pretty crisp in it. Some more parts of the hull on it, the upper hull on it. Back portion of the hull with a door. A bunch more Pioneer tools on it. For panel doors, looks like for the mount for the machine gun on the front of it. There's the, looks like a guard ring for that. The mount for the machine gun off the rear. It's pretty good detail on that. Really, you've got this portion of the thing. 2 machine guns here on it. Different small parts. One thing I noticed when I did this before, the inside of this door has got a lot of detail on it. True, there is some small ejecting pin marks on it, but nothing major. You put a little bit of thinned out putty on it, smooth it. It should be in pretty good shape on it. Nothing really too major. Any of the divots that's in this are not really deep. They're just kind of shallow, a little bit of thin putty, sand it down. It should be good to go on it. Either that or real heavy paint, however you want to do it. More yeah, it's been a long day. Like I said, 4th try, we're doing this no matter what. The material on the seat, got an interesting texture to that. On this here, the knobs are all in really good relief on it. There, I understand. I was looking and I seen a decal kit for doing all the gauges and everything else in the 250s and the 251s. The shield for the front MG on it looks really good. Like I said, there's a few little tiny divot marks, but nothing to get really excited about on it. Shift levers, steering wheel, different shift levers. So it looks pretty good on it. The different parts. Like I said, I'm not an expert on German armor. I just like the way they look. The seat cushions for the driver and the passenger look good on it. The detail on the floor looks good for the drivetrain, for the gear, for the front drive on it. And then we have the 4 sprues for the drive wheels. The tracks and the drive wheels. But each one of these there's 4 sprues. They're all identical. So you come up with 4 extra machine guns on this. 4 rifles. These are all the individual track links you have to take apart and put together. Some people like them, some don't like them. One kit review I read of this kit was they didn't like, I don't know if it was this one or the new. They didn't like doing this. They suggested go get you a set of tracks from a Tamiya and use them instead. I don't really see any issue on this. It just takes a little bit of time to do it. Like I said, all 4 of the tracks, all 4 of the sprues are the same for the tracks, the individual track links. Now the advantage of this, you can sag tracks pretty good by doing this stuff on it. So we'll see how it turns out. The road wheels are on these and the sprockets. So it looks pretty good. The tires are on here somewhere. Supposed to be somewhere on here. Yeah, the tires are on each. Parts of these have each half of a tire on it. And so they'll be glued together. So you will have a little bit of a mold line on it where you put it together. But a lot of these, depending on how long they've been done, the tread patterns on a lot of these military vehicles got kind of wore out. Wasn't one of these where you run down to your local tire shop, got your tires rotated every month or so on these. So, you know, if you have a little less than perfect wear on it, or you can buy some aftermarket rubber ones and put on. Depends on how far into this you want to go. I did see a review of one PE kit for these, and it's no longer available, and it's one of these that's out of production. That really was supposed to be the ultimate kit for this, and I want to say it come from a company named Lion's Roar, but I could be totally wrong on that. Everything on this looks basically pretty good. It really does. I like this one. It's going to be an interesting build. And the final one we're going to look at here is one thing that bothers me, and I got to admit this, and I don't normally nitpick, but they put the decals in here with this. Now this has, like I said, been in and out of there. When I opened this up originally, you can't probably see it in the camera right here. I might be whiting it out, but right there is a divot. Now, and it's right between the decal. There's a decal of helmet there, and a helmet right there, then the Wehrmacht number on it, and right between it, it's got a divot. So this is the thing that comes out of the bag with these tools, and that's one thing I wish these manufacturers would not do, is throw them in with the plastic, because it can get smashed, it can get squished, and everything else in between the times it goes on shelves and gets shipped and everything else. And this one, when I got it, was packed very, very good. From the guy I bought it from, I got this one for $27.50 US, including priority mail shipping. So, which was a pretty good deal on it. The decals all look pretty good. They really do. They're in register. They have got maybe a little bit of excessive release around it, but that's not bad. Looks pretty good. It's got a little thing of to go in the grates in front of the windshield to where the vents are on it. Now the driver, and then it's got your motor here, or engine, whichever you want to call it, that sets down in there. I don't think you'll see it even, but it's got the motor there. It's got a bunch of raised detail on it, not really anything in a large amount of detail. This is the only figure you get with this guy, and it is the driver. And he's not too bad, really. The hands and arms, the hands are really pretty good on it. They really are. The face isn't too bad on detail. It's got a barracks cap that he wears, but it's not too bad. He has lost part of his butt, probably from having to go in and talk to a sergeant major. And any of you that's ever been in the military and had to go see a sergeant major, you'll know what I mean. So, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So let's look at the directions here and see what we got. Same picture as on the front, 135, 39, 45 series. It's got your parts, your sprue list on it. Shows you which sprue lists are there, which ones are which, what's on them. Blue thing says parts not for use on these. So typical fold-out paperwork on it. Look at this. It's got all your typical information, all the different notes and warnings and things like that on it. The paint scheme the paint it calls out on this is Gunsango Aqueous Hobby Color Atelieri Paint Company. H1 is the Sango. The dark gray is Atelieri, and the blue, dark blue, or bright blue with a number 1 on it is Sango Mr. Color. The different, which ones they are on it, things in different things on it. First shows the start, doing the bottom of the hull, putting your running gear on it, put the drive sprockets on it. And it goes putting the road wheels on it. Different set of road wheels, shows you how to do the tracks on it. Different notes that are tied into everything on the paperwork here, shows you putting the wheels together. Shows the suspension. The thing that's interesting about this suspension, it's a typical old Ford almost suspension out of the 1930s. Called it a buggy spring, wishbone suspension. when you used to build the old T-bucket street rods, you split it right there and put your rod ends on it and build you a split wishbone front end on your T-bucket. Has nothing to do with building German armor. I understand that. Just showing my background in street rods in this. But it shows really it's fairly detailed suspension system on it. Really is. Go to the next page. Yeah, that's the first step. Then you go to the next page. 8 starts you on the interior. A lot of the stuff on the interior starts on that. All the benches, all the seats. Shows where it all goes together back in here. Where the engine or motor goes together. Goes down inside. Fits down inside through here, which it's not going to be visible. Shows you putting the driver in. Then this is your parts for your tripod. An extra tripod for one of your machine guns. Shows how all your interior parts on it, different magazine holders, things like that. Shows putting it on the side, putting all your tools on it, all your Pioneer tools on it here. And shows the rest of the Pioneer tools on it. And it shows us putting this all together. Now, Hamilcar Barkus did a 251/7, I think it was, that is a multi-part hull like this. And he did on one of his videos doing this. And he showed a really slick way to put this together on doing this. And he did it by not using extra thin contact cement. He did it all with a regular glue that you guys can't get in England and Europe, that I can't get here unless I order it out of Germany, the Revell Contacta Professional. And the way he showed to do this, pretty slick way to do it, typical Hamilcar Barkus, very good way to do it, very easy way to do it. Go check it out if you're doing one of these. Might help you get this hull together without causing great consternation, frustration, making you pull your hair out and say bad words, among other things. Then it goes into the rest of this shows the dash going in here where you could dry brush it. But like I said, it's going to be under here where you're not going to see it too good, but still might want to do it. There is the mesh material for the grills. Gives it in millimeters, 15 by 3 millimeters. Cut it in there, glue it from the back side. This side shows more parts going in on the top of the hull, which is your rifle rack that goes in here. Got a complete rifle rack with the 4 extra rifles. Then you've got your machine gun. I think it's a 34 mounts up front on it. On this one, then you have the mount for another MG34 on the back, anti-aircraft mount, or you could use, I believe there's a couple MG42s in here, I think, are supposed to be, I don't know for sure. Then we get into like I said, I'm not up on German stuff, I'm learning as I go. Then we get into the marking and painting. This is the southern sector of Eastern Front, autumn 1942. Then we've got, top one is 3rd Panzer Grenadier Division, Italy, 1944. Next one down is Eastern Front, autumn of 42. And the bottom one is Großdeutschland Panzer Division on the bottom one. Typical, like I said, fold-out kits, typical paint call-outs. It's not a bad-looking kit. It really isn't. A couple minor things on it. But one thing I did find out, and I've got an older Tamiya Panzer II, and I was trying to find out the color codes on the painting on it, and I stumbled on a thing when I was searching. There was a post on International Scale Modeler Forum that says if you have a smartphone, just put you a translator on it, put a translator on it, then you can translate the Japanese to whatever language you want. So I did it. And it's a free app that I put on my phone. And it really works pretty slick. It really does. So you can translate it into any language that you want. So other than that, I'd also like to thank Hamilcar Barkus and the the others on ISM when I was doing research on this, on all the misinformation I got about the 250s and when they were used and where they were used, for showing me a video, where to go on a video on it, and giving me some information on that. Again, this is Terry McDade, the Pirate Hunter, and as always, to quote the great Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other and your family. Go check out my other website, or my other YouTube channel that I cannot get transferred to this one, the Pirate Hunter, PIR8 HNTR, for a bunch of the older videos I did on this. Again, take care of yourself and your family. Till the next time, this is the Pirate Hunter.